Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas. Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados.
Because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Nathan.
Welcome to episode 145 of Adventures and Mousecapades.
This week, I will have enjoyed 3.5 days all by myself. An empty house. Alicia and Sterling are down in California. Well, when you hear this, they're probably back home already, but
Yeah.
or at least on the way home. But
Enjoying spooky season.
indeed, I am enjoying quiet season.
Because it's so noisy in our household.
It is.
No,
You know,
it is not.
It's not. It's not really. But I'm going to do what I usually do. I'm going to edit a podcast on the weekend. I'm going to watch a little football. I have some stuff to go do. I might even go see my parents. We'll see.
What?
I know, but
Say
it's
hi.
weird that we're
Mom.
talking about this
Hi,
in the... Yeah, exactly. It's weird that we're talking about this in the future, even though when this comes out and everybody else hears it, it'll be in the past. Time's strange, y'all.
It's not really.
Are you saying it's linear?
It's wibbly wobbly.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
What are we talking about today?
Today, we are talking about the cruise at the end of the world.
I feel like there should be like an echo thing here.
I'll see what I can do in post.
It's the end of the world as we know it.
I feel fine.
I feel fine.
And actually, we did feel fine. This was our 2020 Panama Canal cruise. We were on the westbound repositioning cruise on the Disney Wonder from New Orleans to San Diego through the Panama Canal. And it was pretty amazing. This was when the world ended. Or
Literally.
At
well,
least
not
shut down.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, this was the beginning of the pandemic in March of 2020. And we did feel fine because nobody on the ship was sick. And we effectively quarantined at sea for 2 weeks. So it was
For the most part. Yeah. It was interesting because I do remember leading up to this cruise, there had been stuff in the news, just a little bit of stuff in the news. And I had a couple, coworkers ask me like, are you worried about this at all? And I'm like, I'm not. And let me tell you why. Because this is Disney. And just from all the other cruises that I've been on, they are constantly cleaning the ship. They really are all the time. And I was like, and I'll be on a ship. I'll be okay.
Yeah. And you know what? We were. It was only when everybody got off the ship that stuff went south and people got sick. But we digress.
We'll
get there.
I am going to say right ahead of time here, this cruise is what we base pretty much all of our cruises off of.
100%.
Because this was the best vacation cruise that we have ever had.
Absolutely. It was.
And whether that be...
I'm speechless. Like, it was so good.
And I know it was because of who we were with on this cruise. We had an amazing time with all of our friends.
Yes. And crew.
And crew. What?
We have made
Yeah.
like lifelong connections out of people that we met on this cruise. And yeah.
Yeah.
Let's dive in, shall we? This is
shall.
one of our very last retroactive trip reports. I think we only have one after this.
We'll have to, I don't know, look at our notes or something.
Nah.
This was a celebration cruise. We were celebrating 2 anniversaries and a birthday. Nathan and I were celebrating our 20th anniversary. Bill and Rachel were celebrating an anniversary, and Andrew was celebrating a birthday.
Yeah. So we all met up in New Orleans. We flew in a couple, 2 or 3 days early. And it was our first time in New Orleans for Alicia and myself. Everybody else loves New Orleans, has been there a whole bunch. And they kind of showed us around the city a little bit. It was kind of fun. What was your overall take on New Orleans?
I'm not a big city person. I never have been. And I think I would have liked to have seen more of the historical aspect of the city. And the musical aspect of the city. We didn't really get to see that too much. And I think we we were with friends. We were shopping and doing a whole bunch of other stuff, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but didn't really get to spend time in the city itself doing that other stuff.
We were kind of in the heart of the like super touristy district, and didn't get over to like the music quarter and all the rest of that. So it had some Vegas-y vibes, but I think that's just because of the place that it was. It was leading up towards Mardi Gras.
Yes. Or was it just after? I think it was just after Mardi Gras.
Maybe it was just after. I don't know. It's definitely a vibe.
Yeah, and we did say that we wanted to see Bourbon Street because when you are in New Orleans, you have to go to Bourbon Street. I realize that is a ridiculously touristy place.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't like it.
No, not really.
I had my bum slapped by a random stranger. Yep.
I think she was trying to get us to like buy shots from her or something like that.
Oh yeah. There's tons of people out there trying to get you to drink street shots and out of test tubes or out of their cleavages or whatever. New Orleans.
It was an experience, y'all.
Yes.
There was definitely some artists and things out on the streets though that were incredible, like visual arts, like some paintings and stuff. We've got something that we have hanging up here. That's New Orleans inspired music, jazz stuff. We went shoe shopping. We went hat shopping. We kind of toured around a few different places. We had a good old time. I would do New Orleans again. I would do it differently. Yeah,
I like I said, I'd love to know more about the historical aspect of it. We did stop for beignets. I know that's the thing you're supposed to do when you're in New Orleans. And we went to Café du Monde for beignets. I know there's another place. I think it's like Café Beignet or something like that. That's another big one. But we only went to Du Monde,
which is kind of the bigger. I think it's the one where.
It's one of them. There's
more well known. Like, you have to go to Café du Monde and get the. Yeah, they were cool.
They were okay. So there's two different types of beignets. There's this one and the other one, which is why I'd like to try the other one as well, just to get a better feel of it. So these were, if I remember correctly, quite greasy and crunchy on the outside.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I was kind of hoping for something a little lighter, and it was. Yeah, it wasn't quite what I was expecting, but that's all right. We did see the Wonder at one point coming in the day before, and walked down by the riverfront and took some pictures of where we were going to spend the next 2 weeks of our lives. We enjoyed New Orleans.
Yeah. Spent a lot of money on shoes, on fancy shoes.
Indeed.
I got a pair of earrings that were just perfect for the trip. They looked like spray bottles. And they said, I can't say because it is a curse word. It said "F off repellent" on it.
Yes, it was pretty good. And so she, wore those around the ship a lot.
I did. It was perfect.
Yeah. So we stayed over at one of the Wyndham Vacation Club resorts there in New Orleans. I forget the name of it, but it was nice. We shared kind of a bigger suite with Bill and Rachel, had our own nice bedroom there. And we got a little party bus over to the boat from the hotel. We chartered a rather nice ride that got us over there. And this was fun. We did not rope drop getting on the ship though.
No, we were one of the very last people in the terminal. We got there about 1:30 p.m. Nobody was there. And the cast members there were like, you guys know how to do this. There's no line. There's nothing. You just go. And we did. We got right on. We could go right to our room and it was great.
It was pretty perfect, to be honest with you. It was a bright and clear day. A little bit windy, a little bit chilly there up on deck, but we still enjoyed our sail away party. Have some nice pictures of sailing out of New Orleans and down the river.
This was cool, just going down the river.
Yeah, it was really neat. I wish you could see more of it because you kind of, like it takes, I don't remember, like 4 hours, 5 hours to get from New Orleans out to the ocean. And
it gets dark.
It gets dark and you can't see what's out there. I'd love to see it during the day sometime.
Yeah. Our staterooms for this cruise were all next to each other.
Yes.
And we were able to get that because I planned this back in 2018.
That's right.
I think it was October 2018, I actually happened to be down in Orlando for a conference, and I stepped out of the conference one morning and got on a conference call with basically, I think it was Bill and Meredith, I think. And we basically all got rooms right next to each other on the ship.
Nice.
So,
and then you didn't tell me for like a year?
Yeah, I told you your birthday the next year.
That's right. Yeah. They had this whole like Facebook group of like, don't tell Nathan.
Yes, we did. That's right. I forgot about that. It's probably still on there.
It's probably still there.
One of the nice things about this, we all had veranda rooms, and we talked to our stateroom host, and they were able to open the partitions in between the verandas.
Right.
So we had a nice, super long veranda balcony for all 3 rooms.
It was perfect.
It was epic.
We had, I don't know, we're not going to blow by blow this trip. I think there's a bunch of stories. I'm sure everybody's interested to hear how Disney handles a pandemic. We had a day at sea, if memory serves. We were in Cozumel on Sunday, March 8th. Bill and Rachel have been to Cozumel a bunch. They have some contacts down there. They had a local driver that they hooked us up with a couple Jeeps and a tour guide. And we were basically chauffeured around town and went to some Mayan ruins. It's very, very cool. We went to a tequila distillery. Very, very fun. Although we were tempted to buy some stuff there, we said no. We want to hold off. We want to we want to save room in our luggage going home from our favorite distillery that we've found in Puerto Vallarta on the Pacific coast of Mexico, and said, no, we'll buy a bunch there because we know we love that stuff. Even though this is good, we wanted some Mama Lucia's. If we only knew what was going to unfold, we should have bought tequila then.
We have plenty of tequila here. It's okay.
Okay, that's fair.
Yes. So after the ruins, it was the San Gervasio Mayan ruins, and the tequila we stopped at was the Hacienda Antigua tequila place. We went to a hole in the wall called Welcome to Miami. Was the name of this place. It was on the coast in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around it.
It's on the Gulf side of the island where pretty much nothing is built up because they basically treat that whole half of the island as a buffer zone for hurricanes that roll through. But
it's pretty windy.
This little shack on the side of the road and this rocky beach, and they had just amazing, authentic food and beers and all these folding tables and plastic chairs under umbrellas and tents and stuff, like right on the water, right on the beach. It was amazing. We blew pretty much the whole afternoon there. And looking back on it, this was our last real shot at just having fun and not having a care in the world. We have some pictures from, sitting on the beach and drinking a beer and stuff like that, and just looking out at the water that honestly I was using during the pandemic as like my virtual background in video calls. And everybody's like, oh, where's that? I was like, it's the last nice place I ever went.
So I have a picture of the shack. It says the Liquor Box, open bar, 25 hours. Welcome to Miami.
Evidently, it's still around because we talked to somebody who was from Cozumel. She was a staff member, a bartender on the Royal Caribbean cruise that we did to Alaska a year ago, just about a year ago.
Hawaii, possibly.
Yeah, sorry. Alaska, Hawaii, very much the same place. We haven't
done Alaska yet. So.
Yeah, details. Anyhow, yes. And she's from Cozumel. I was like, oh man, we love Cozumel. We went to this little shack out in the middle of nowhere, the last place that we were really at before the pandemic. And I go, I'm sure, it's not even there anymore. And she goes, what was it called? I go, Welcome to Miami. She goes, love that place, but it's been overrun. Evidently, the secret is out, and lots of people go to Welcome to Miami now.
That's okay.
It's all right. We'll have to give it another try.
We enjoyed it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we spent a very nice afternoon there and then got back to the ship. And the next day was Georgetown, Grand Cayman.
Yes.
And we should have known where the world was going.
This was a sign.
The dump was literally on fire.
Right. 2020 was the year of the dumpster fire meme. And literally the town dump was on fire. And
I'm a super smeller. I don't know what to call it other than that. Like, I smell things very easily. I'm very sensitive in my nose.
You smell a lot?
I smell a lot. And I could not get off the ship. I could not go outside because the smell of the smoke was making my eyes water. It was just giving me a headache. I'm like, I'm sorry, I cannot get off the ship. And I think most of us stayed on the ship, but Nathan, you and Rachel decided to go to hell.
That's right. We went to hell. This is a rock formation on the island of Grand Cayman that is really quite stunning. It's old limestone. It's super jagged and raggedy, and it does kind of look like one of Dante's layers of hell. But the key for me was there's a post office there, and you can send people postcards postmarked from hell. And, being the good Presbyterian that I am, I needed to send our senior pastor a postcard from hell. So that's exactly what happened.
Yep. There's a lot of fun pictures here of like, I've been to hell in a handbasket and hell was so full I came back. Yeah. And I see you got pictures of chickens while you're there because why not?
Of course, there's chickens. It was also interesting. I think Rachel and I were the only two people on this tourist bus. And the driver was saying like, he had the news on. He's like, oh, you guys worried about the, this illness or whatever? And we were like, nah, not really. We'll see what happens. And we asked, what about you? And he goes, oh, no. Viruses and diseases and things like that, they don't like the tropics. It's too hot. And I'm thinking,
what?
Malaria and this and that. I'm like, I don't think this works the way you think this works. No. But, I hope he turned out okay. But I don't think his theory held water.
Nope, not so much.
Nope. We did, since this was the wonder, we have a picture from dinner that night, which was at Animator's Palette. And this has Sorcerer Mickey with the Phantasmic music going. Yeah. My favorite thing. Love it.
I also have a note here that you played rock, paper, scissors with Mickey, and you tied with him 3 times.
Heck yeah. 3 in a row, we tied, and we both look at each other like, well, I mean, we're done. This is it. We can't go further than this. Clearly, we're on the same page.
Yep. Day 5 was a sea day. It was Tuesday, March 10th. It was the first sea day of many. We had apparently doubled back overnight to drop somebody off at Grand Cayman for a medical emergency.
Yep. But we were still on board. The captain did let us know that he was going to have to put the pedal to the metal and kind of floor it down to our next port of call, but that we were likely going to be late. And we had a private tour set up in the city with somebody that had given us a tour there in Cartagena, Colombia, during our 2013 Panama Canal cruise.
Claudia.
And Claudia was amazing. We were so looking forward to her, but we knew we weren't going to make that time anymore. And so I remember shooting her an email and saying, we're so sorry. And I remember being very, very worried about, deposits and feeling guilty and all the rest of that stuff. And she's like, don't worry about it. Or no, she didn't make us have a deposit. I think she remembered us or something like that or whatever it was. And
she was amazing, honestly.
I just felt so bad about not doing it, but she was great. It was fine.
Yeah, and we actually didn't get into the port area in Cartagena till around, I think it was noon or 1 o'clock.
Yeah, it was pretty late. And then we kind of stopped in the middle of the bay. And we were all saying to ourselves, huh?
The captain came on. Somebody came on and said, we don't have any information right now. We'll let you know as soon as we do, basically.
Right. Because, I mean, it's not like they can hide the fact that we're just, trying to dock, but clearly not being allowed to dock. They put up the quarantine flag as one of the flags that they ran up on the mast there in the forward funnel. And people were reading all sorts of things into that. For those of you who are not nautically inclined, that has nothing to do with health or safety. That has everything to do with the ship had not cleared into the country yet from a customs perspective. So if you arrive in a place and you're in their waters, you put up the Q flag to say, hey, I haven't cleared in yet. As soon as you do clear in, you take the flag down. But interestingly enough, maybe a double meaning. So if you were with us for episode 110, you've probably heard John Armstrong, who's an amazing magician, comment on what was going on here, which was we were being denied entry into the port and they were trying to negotiate to get some people off. There was supposed to be a entertainment crew change. There was supposed to be a supply depot run, like all sorts of stuff. They were trying to wheel and deal and see what we can happen or get to happen. And everything was denied. So after sitting in the bay for an hour and a half or so, the ship basically spun around, did a 180 in place and left, which was very, very interesting. As it would turn out, we found out later, the COVID virus had broken out basically the day before or that morning, and the city of Cartagena had basically gone into lockdown. And so they were really denying us entry to protect us, which, the right call, to be quite honest with you.
Yes. And thank goodness, honestly.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Yeah. We did get a notification on our app that the evening show that evening was changed to Frozen, a musical spectacular, which was supposed to be, I think, the next night or the night after that. And this is obviously because they did not get the entertainment on board that they were supposed to.
Right.
So they were starting to change that. And I will say today, that day was the first of very, very many announcements throughout the day. And later on, like subsequent days in the cruise, you'd hear the chimes go off and like in the middle of the day, not during the regular times. I think there's one at noon, and then everybody would like, oh no, what's going on now? Right. So
like the news was getting worse and worse every time the announcement chime was going off. And unlike pretty much all the other cruises, if you've been on with Disney Cruise Line, like they only do the announcement chimes into your room once, like right when you get on board. We were getting it once or twice a day. Like, it was a thing.
Yeah. And I didn't write any of this down, so I don't remember specifically what they were talking about. I know one of them was basically they announced Disney's worldwide closure. And they announced this on day 7, which was Thursday, March 12th, while we were in the Panama Canal.
Yes, which thankfully it was while we were in the Panama Canal because we still had cell phone service. And so instantly we were all like, okay, well, the 6 of us, Alicia and myself, Bill and Rachel, Doc and Mare, we were all going to Disneyland right after we got off the ship. We were going to spend, I think, 3 or 4 days in Disneyland. We had reservations at Club 33. Like it was going to be epic. And it all fell apart. And so we were like, what are we? Okay, well, our flight home isn't for several days. The hotels and everything that we were going to stay at are now closed. Calling an audible, and we rebooked our flight to get home from San Diego. And it all worked out.
It did. We are very lucky that it all worked out. Yes.
We were super lucky because, this wasn't the era of Disney Cruise Line Starlink, and they were giving people free access to the internet because they knew people were having to make additional plans and communicate and all the rest of that stuff. They were great about that. But Man, the old Disney Cruise Line internet connectivity was crap. And I'm so thankful we had self-service to be actually able to do some of this stuff. That said, that day through the Panama Canal was amazing. We had so much fun. We were on the port side of the ship, which if we ever do the Panama Canal again, I want to be on the starboard side because we've done the port side twice. It's a great view, but the thing that we always forget is that's the southern side when you're going westbound, and it gets so hot.
It bakes.
Yeah.
I have a note that it was 86 degrees at 10:10 in the morning.
Yeah, it was rough, but we were out on our balcony having a blast, ordering room service, beers and snacks and all sorts of stuff. And again, we had this huge, glorious combined veranda. We were those people. We kept playing Panama over and over.
Yeah.
Panama.
Yeah, we were those people.
We were those people. Yeah, we were officially gringos that day. But it was fun. We had just a blast. I would relive this day. I would relive this whole cruise over and over and over. It was fantastic.
It was.
As long as you like strip out the whole pandemic part of it, everything else about this cruise was amazing.
Yeah. So the next few days, let's see, we had days 8 through 11, Friday, March 13th through Monday, March 16th were all supposed to be sea days. And guess what? They were.
They were.
Yep. Day 12 and 13 were supposed to be port days. Those ended up being sea days as well.
Yes. We were supposed to port in Puerto Vallarta after 3 or 4 sea days going up north, and then Cabo the next day, and then off to San Diego. And
sea day, then San Diego.
Yes. And effectively, we just bypassed everything.
Yep.
We did stop overnight on the Pacific side of the canal and anchored up and refueled. We didn't get any more provisions.
No, because we couldn't.
Yeah. Now, the cruise ship was planning on reprovisioning in Cartagena. So this goes to I think a lot of people's questions like, oh no, like, are they going to run out of food? Are they going to run? Nope. Disney always keeps like an extra 2 weeks, I think, of full provisions on board just in case there's a logistical error or something like that. Honestly, the only thing that I noticed that they really ran out of towards the very end of the cruise was Jameson. Like that was the only thing. I think we got down to, the last 2 bottles on board, and our bartender friends were hiding them for us. So
yes. Yep. They were awfully nice about it.
Yeah, they were pretty great.
Yeah.
But everything else was great. Like there like no rationing, like everything was full, just go. We talked a little bit about this with John Armstrong, but it's worth mentioning again here. The entertainment crew on board was so amazing.
They really were.
Everybody just was like, what can I do? Yes, there was a schedule. The schedule's gone out the window. What new things can I do? I think John said he did like 20 shows or 18 shows or something like that.
Yeah.
There was one a cappella group on board that decided to do nothing.
And were very belligerent about it, unfortunately.
I don't think they work with Disney Cruise Line anymore. Interesting how that worked out.
Yeah. There was a dancing duo on the cruise as well. A couple who did, they taught dances to people and just, I don't know.
Yep. Leslie Iwerks was the guest lecturer on board, and this was right before the Imagineering story was coming out on Disney Plus, which is her absolute just ode to Disney Imagineering. Leslie Iwerks, her grandfather Iwerks, who partnered with Walt and was one of the first animators of Mickey Mouse. Her dad was absolutely incredible as well. An inventor at the studios, invented the camera system and everything for Circle Vision. I mean, she is deeply ingrained in Disney culture, and she was planning on. We saw the first episode as a premiere at sea of the Imagineering story, and she did a Q&A section session after that, and that was going to be it. And she went to Ashley, or Ashley went to her, and Leslie goes, "Look, I have the whole rest of the series on my laptop. We can just watch them." And so we went through the whole series over, one episode a day of the Imagineering story long before it ever hit Disney Plus, and had a lecture with Leslie afterwards in a Q&A section afterwards. And she was saying all these behind the scenes things and all sorts of pictures that didn't quite make it. It was so incredible as a Disney nerd.
I will say it was not before, it was just after it came on Disney Plus, but she had all sorts of behind the scenes stuff that she shared, stuff that didn't make it into the Imagineering story, and just all these stories that you really couldn't hear anywhere else except for directly from her.
Right.
And honestly, this was so amazing. If you haven't watched the Imagineering story, do yourself a favor and go watch it. It's so good.
Yes.
And she's done so many different documentaries on a lot of different things. Not all of them are Disney.
Right.
There's a bunch of other things, and I'm fairly certain she's won an Oscar. I could be wrong. I know she's been nominated.
We'll just say she's award-winning.
Mm-hmm. She is award-winning for sure.
And Leslie was one of the early benefactors of what has now become a tradition with our friend group, and that is the grilled cheese sandwich. Now, dear listener, there was an evening at Rotational Dining early in the cruise. Our amazing waiter, Jorge, from Cozumel. He's in Canada these days, but anywho, I digress. He was taking our orders, and I said, "You know what? I'm not really into any of these appetizers. Can I just get like a grilled cheese sandwich?" He goes, "Yeah, I can put that in. Totally fine."
It may take a while, but yeah.
Yeah, it'll take a little bit. I'm like, that's fine. Like no rush. We're at sea. We got said grilled cheese sandwich, and it wasn't great. And he agreed. And we gave some feedback to the chefs, and I think the head waiter was kind of in on it too, and said, "Oh yeah, that's not very good." And so from then on, every night it was a grilled cheese sandwich, and I think after by night 3, it was kind of like your drink order. Like you order a drink, you're like, "Oh, you always have a Coke with dinner. Here's your Coke with dinner." As soon as you sit down, it became a thing where there was just grilled cheese sandwiches on the table when we showed up in the dining room.
Not a whole bunch. Yeah, not a whole bunch. Just like maybe two full sandwiches or something like that.
Our last night on board, there was a heaping serving platter, silver serving platter.
Yes.
Like a catering size serving platter full of triangle cut grilled cheese that were amazingly, just like perfectly done. And so we became that table. We were sharing our grilled cheese abundance with the whole dining room.
We were going around asking people if they wanted a grilled cheese sandwich. Leslie was, I think, 2 tables down from us, and we asked her if she would like a grilled cheese, and I believe she took one. I cannot remember.
I think so.
There are multiple people who, throughout the dining room, got a grilled cheese.
Yep. That was good. It was good. So, if I ever offer you a grilled cheese, trust me, it comes from a place of love. This is an honored tradition, and you should be ecstatic to be brought into the fold.
Yeah, that's it. Disney also brought out some characters that you usually have to do a special cruise for in order to see, and mainly Marvel characters. They started bringing out a bunch of Marvel characters. No Pixar, no Star Wars, but we did get Marvel. I got to talk to Thor and Spider-Man. Pretty sure Black Panther was there too. This was nice. They were really pulling out the characters. The princesses were out almost every night.
Yep.
The Fab Five. Lots of characters.
They did us really well.
Lots of good entertainment too. Yeah. And we should talk about entertainment because we met Dean on this cruise.
That's true. Drink. So Dean, or Dino, was the club host, which is a position that no longer exists on Disney Cruise Line post the pandemic. And Dean is from Ireland. He just has this beautiful lilt. He hosted all of the trivias and everything. And any time he said something with 3 in it, or in Irish parlance, tree, we all yelled drink. And it has absolutely become a thing.
Poor guy. Seriously.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm sorry, Dean. I'm not really sorry, but I'm really sorry. My favorite thing though was a trivia question where the question was, what is the speed of a record? How fast does a record go around? And of course the answer is 33 and a turd. That is the long play speed for an album. Hi, I'm old. Now, kids, an album is a piece of plastic.
No. You don't need to go there.
Okay. All right.
There's no kids listening to this.
Okay, now 20-year-olds. An album was a piece of plastic.
You're still going with this, I see. Yeah, no need to.
Okay,
no, it was great to talk with Dino, and his wife, Jenna, was there as well. Just getting to meet both of them was so much fun.
And Jenna is an amazing personality. Jenna is also a former cast member. She was friends with Ariel and some other things around the parks. And man, these two people light up a room. We have stayed in touch. We saw them just a few weeks ago at Bill's 50th birthday party. It was so great to reconnect. Good people. And everybody always asks about Dean. It was just the other day where there was a post on the Disney Cruising group on Facebook, and somebody asked about favorite cruise or something like that. And whenever people ask about favorite cruises, anyone who is on this cruise is always instantly popping up and saying it was the 2020 westbound Panama on the Wonder, blah, 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 blah. And then somebody in that thread goes, and Dean was amazing. And I was able to pop in and was like, yup. And he's doing great. And he is trying to get back into the cruise line when the right opportunity happens. So very much hopeful that we can see Dean on the high seas very soon. And in his honor, drink.
I already drank. I'm good. Disney did a wonderful job with entertainment. They had lots of stuff available to do. The entertainment crew made sure that there was a lot of different activities available throughout the day, in the evenings, all sorts of fun stuff. It was very, very good.
I'm pretty sure Dean said that he was workshopping stuff too. Like he was like working on new game shows or new trivias and things like that. And he was just pulling out all the stops. So this whole trip was absolutely amazing. The day that we were supposed to pass by Cabo, so this was day 13, March 18th on Wednesday, we kind of ran into a storm. And it was windy. And when I say windy, I mean like a 64 knot wind directly on the beam on the side of the ship. That's just shy of 74 miles an hour. Like I opened the door to go outside because we were on the leeward side of it. So it wasn't too bad. And Alicia was like, the whole bed moved when I opened the sliding door.
And it was not quiet when you opened the door either. Like,
no. It's like screaming
the wind
banshees.
was literally screaming getting through the door.
Hey everybody. So the whole ship has a good 10 to 15 degree list on it because we have a 60 knot wind blowing into us, so we're all like, woo! 20-foot seas, good times, and
This is what happens when you open the
big
door.
whistles.
That's kind of more like a scream than a whistle. I could be wrong.
No, it's nautical. I don't know. Anyhow, bye.
The ship was also listing 10 to 15 degrees constantly.
Yes.
So you were not allowed to go out on the decks.
No.
You could go out on your balcony, that's fine, but you weren't allowed to go like on the promenade deck 4 because
It was
quite
awash.
list. Yes.
Well,
yes.
it was quite a list, and we were on deck 7 or 8. I
Oh,
can't,
yeah, we're getting waves. Yeah.
I think we were on 8, and there were waves, like the splashes were coming up to our balcony. Mm-hmm. It was impressive.
Yep.
Yeah. So, the captain actually had to alter course. And so it wasn't directly on our beam or on the side of the ship on the beam, and alleviate some of the listing because it was unnerving people a little too much. The ship was fine. It was the people that were the problem. People are usually the problem.
Yes, this is true. This is true. Now, the Wonder actually got into port a day early. Mm-hmm. On day 14, which was Thursday, March 19th. It was supposed to be a sea day, but it was a San Diego day. Yeah. We basically pulled into port there, and Disney made an announcement. You could get off the ship if you wanted, but you would not be coming back on the ship. So if people wanted to leave early, they could.
And they had said that a couple days before.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they just surprised everybody and said, hey, we're here early. If you want to get off, you can get off. But yeah, they were very, very clear that you can get off if you want, but you're not coming back on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And we stayed on the ship.
Yeah, it was the safest place. Everybody had been quarantined for a week and a half at this point since Grand Cayman. There's no reason for us to go throw ourselves into the morass, as it were. And
we would have had to stay at the hotel for a night.
Right.
Instead of just getting directly onto a plane.
Right. So I'm at a hotel. It happens to be a cruise ship.
Yep.
We're just going to stay.
Yep.
So that is what we did. Now, Alicia and I got interviewed that day by a local TV station. Mm-hmm. And they were really digging for dirt.
They were digging for dirt, for sure.
I don't think they were very happy with our interview. They didn't use it too much because we didn't have anything bad to say. In fact, we were quite the opposite in saying like, no, Disney took amazing care of us. Everything's been great. It's been fantastic. No complaints. Now, the background to all of this is we had heard stories on board, like, because it was on the news in the pub on the satellite TV. Like, I forget what cruise line it was, but they pulled in a full ship into some random town in Mexico and kicked everybody off and said, good luck finding your way home.
Yeah.
Like, there's Disney. This is why we weren't worried, because Disney takes care of you. And they absolutely took care of us. One of the other things that they did, and this was kind of unprecedented in Disney Cruise Line history at this point, we got a 50% discount off of a future cruise. Yep. And that was a 50% discount off of whatever room you wanted to book.
Yeah, including concierge.
Including concierge, including a royal suite, whatever you want to do, 50% off. So 0 complaints from us.
Yeah. We did debark the next day. Well, we had to because that was the end of the cruise.
Yeah.
There was a health scan in Walt Disney Theater before we got off the ship. And we believe this is where everybody got sick.
Yes. We went to one person who was doing a health scan and looking at documentation, and I think they had one of the little infrared thermometer trigger things, and they were looking at your passports and everything. And then Bill and Rachel and Andrew and Mare went to another person, and lo and behold, couple 2-3 days later, the other 4 of our sailing party all got sick with COVID, and we did not. So, irony of ironies, the health check got us, or at least them, sick.
Well, it could have been any number of places. It could have been the airport. It could have been the airplane. Who knows?
True.
But a
yeah.
lot of the other crew got sick after that too.
As soon as the quarantine was broken, because
Yeah.
you had people from health or other trades and things like that coming onto the ship, that's when the bubble was broken. Unfortunately, that was when we were getting off. And yeah, it got pretty bad there on the Wonder and all the rest of these cruise ships when that happened. I don't want to drain that too much. It's unfortunate. Come on. It's a microcosm of what happened everywhere else in the world. Like they were struggling with everything. People were making decisions on what to do and how to act and what behaviors to do and things like that with really a dearth of knowledge. And everybody's trying to do the best. And sometimes that didn't work out for the best or in the best way possible. But, we made it. We all survived. We have this picture of one of the TV screens down there by the atrium, and it was just saying, "Get off,
get off." Yep. In a very fancy script and an exclamation point.
Yes, get off. I feel great about it, but get off.
Yeah. Now, I will say there were some cast members that we kept in contact with that did have a difficult time.
Yes.
Afterwards.
Yep.
And there were hardships for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, how could you not?
Yeah.
I don't think there's any blame on Disney. But I think there's blame to go around. Like, governments and agencies and Disney and maritime authorities, like, everybody was making decisions in a black hole based on 10% of information, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But all that being said, this was the best cruise we've ever been on.
Yeah.
And I don't think it could ever be duplicated. Well, hopefully the pandemic part isn't duplicated, but
we don't want that duplicated.
the joy, the just free-spirited whatever, I know you had a plan, but there is no plan now.
Yeah.
That whole aspect of it just permeated the ship, and it was so amazing.
It was just the people we met, the people we spend time with, the entertainment, the cast members, the crew. It was a phenomenal time.
Yep.
I know we at some point want to do another Panama Canal cruise. Who knows when? We'd also like to do a transatlantic or maybe a trans-Pacific because we do really like the sea days. I know not everybody likes the sea days. They want to have ports. But you get to know the ship so much on sea days. You get to know the people on the ship on sea days. And this may sound weird coming from two blatant introverts here, but we really do enjoy our time on the ship and just talking with people.
Yeah. And doing this with the rest of the crew, with Bill and Rachel, with Andrew and Mare, really just made it magical. I think we would have had a great time if this was just us, but this was over the top. This was, it was amazing. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say, which is really awkward when you're hosting a podcast. So
we were in our happy place with our happy people.
Absolutely. Well said.
And with all that, we are not affiliated with Disney or their subsidiaries. These are personal opinions and suggestions based on our own experiences. We recommend working with a travel agent or contacting Disney directly to plan your next vacation.
If you have questions or suggestions or would like to be interviewed on our show to share your Disney experience, please do send us an email. We're at podcast@ourmousecapades.com.
You can follow us on socials at Our Mousecapades. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, YouTube, and Twitter.
Please give us a rating and review in your podcast app. That really helps people find us.
And of course, do not hesitate to share us with your friends and fellow Disney lovers of all ages.
Thanks for listening. We'll be in your ears next week.
Thank you for flying Star Tours. Bye-bye.
And with all that, on to the legalese.
Can you do that again without the click?
What did I? Okay. And with all that, you just did it. Shame on you. And with all that.
No, be energetic.
Man, I'm not energetic. I'm tired.